you check the children?
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes that is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Horror Show. I'm Cecil Laird.
And I'm Davey Deathray.
That's right. Davey is back on the channel once again. He came in clutch today, going to see this sneak preview. We got to see it early. Unfortunately, Fuego couldn't make it. Luckily, Davey was able to step in, which I think you're happy about this time, right?
Oh my god, this was so much fun.
Yeah. So,
Holy
guys,
cow.
we're here to talk about the new Ryan Coogler flick. That's right, the man behind Creed, the man behind Black Panther 1 and 2. He has just put out a horror movie, or is about to put out a horror movie called Sinners. This is starring Michael B. Jordan, Delroy Lindo, and a few other people, too.
Haley Steinfeld.
Haley Steinfeld, yep, you mentioned her on the way out, and I was like, good to know. But yeah, guys, we're going to do this like we do our normal reviews. We're going to talk about the overall thoughts, then we'll talk about the story, the acting, the effects, all of that good stuff in turn. Definitely the filmmaking in this one. There's so much that is worth talking about in this film, and my overall thoughts are this is the best movie, the best horror movie of 2025, easily so far, by far and away. To me, the richness of the characters, the richness of the culture on display, the fantastic filmmaking, the acting is so far above par, it's crazy, or so far below par, I guess it would be. That's just a bad analogy to use because it's reverse working there.
The performances are a bunch of holes in one.
Yeah, there you go. That's perfect. So yeah, I mean, this movie, frankly, like I was about a half hour in and I was like, this movie is a perfect movie so far to me. I am very hopeful that it maintains this level. The only thought I might have had was like maybe it's just a smidge too long at 2 hours and 17 minutes, but ultimately, as the film went on and once it was done, I didn't feel the time at all. So this is a rare one that I would give 5 out of 5 stars. Very rare for me, but I would give this one 5 out of 5 stars.
Holy cow, I don't even know how to follow that
sorry.
up. That was amazing.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, this movie is really damn good, and I'll go to the runtime thing right away.
Yeah.
Overall thoughts, like, I'm usually such a jerk about runtime. Like, I am like, why aren't most movies an hour and 40 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
But this one, yeah, 2:17. Like, for me, it was such a breeze.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're saying, the way that the characters are developed and dove into, and the story development as well. I mean, everything about it, the music.
Yes.
I mean, there's so much going on here, and it's a really cool, almost like half and half kind of storytelling. Reminded me a little bit of From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
Almost like a reverse, but there's like this whole, you get to spend a lot of time getting to know these characters.
Yeah.
And yeah, performances awesome, like you said. I mean, I agree with you. I think that, yeah, this is the best horror movie of the year so far, and a movie that if it came out like late last year, like would have gotten Oscar nominations.
I agree.
So yeah,
Now that the substance has kind of helped once again reinforce that acting in horror is worth recognition, I feel like Michael B. Jordan has a really good chance at being recognized.
Yeah.
So getting into the story just briefly, again, we're going to keep this spoiler free. We're not going to spoil anything about it.
I'll do my best.
Yes, but if either of us do, I will cut it out. But I'm so old. Ugh. Anyway, so this movie is about it's about a man named Lil Sammy or Preacher's son, right?
Yeah.
And he is a young man who is a slave in the I don't know if he's a full slave or he just works on a plantation.
Works on a plantation.
Right.
It's the early 30s in Mississippi.
Is it or was it the 20s?
1932.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was like 25 or 32 or whatever. But yeah, so but there are still, unfortunately a lot of racial issues obviously at the time. The Klan was still a thing. But yeah, so young Sammy is a boy who likes to play guitar. And he's not a boy anymore. He's like just now becoming like a young man. And just in time for his two cousins to come back. The Smokestack twins. Yes, the Smokestack twins, played both by Michael B. Jordan. One of them named Smoke, the other one named Stack, and he plays them, definitely different enough to be able to tell who is who, even without the wardrobe assistance, which they do give you throughout the movie.
Little Ninja Turtle action.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, this is the one with the vest and the grill. Okay.
Yeah. This one wears red, the other wears blue.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point. Yeah. But so they're both back from Chicago, having worked for Al Capone, apparently, is what's dropped at one point. But they're now back in their hometown, and they're looking to set up sort of a, what did they call it? A juke joint, right? Yep. So a place where people can come and dance and drink and have fun and boogie all night long and all
gamble,
that stuff. And gamble, yeah. all that too. But yeah, so they come back in town and they set up this juke joint over the course of a day in order to have their grand opening that night. They invite all the people, well, specifically all the black people from town.
Yeah, everyone they knew, all the homies.
Mm-hmm, exactly. Although they never say that. It is the 1930s.
I would say it.
But yeah. Well, you never know. There's some anachronistic stuff. But
sure.
But nonetheless, so they set up this whole thing to go down, and the twist comes when they're all partying and having fun, when the party gets, well, not necessarily crashed, but a few vampires show up to try and join the party. And that's as far as I'll go. I think going too far beyond that will get a little spoilery. If you've seen the trailers, you do see that it gets to be confrontational. But we don't need to discuss how it gets there or anything like that. So that's the long and short of the story. And again, just to piggyback on what we had mentioned earlier, Coogler did such a good job diving into these characters and having I bought into the world so heavily. With again, the music was such a tremendous help. It was very of the time, blues, lots of that vibe, and so because the characters were focused on so much, it made the story so deep and rich, as I said earlier. So I was so on board for how the story played out. I did check when it started to happen, but when the craziness started to finally rear its head, it was at 1 hour and 17 minutes.
Oh, wow.
So, like, there was that much setup that didn't feel nearly like there was that much setup. Like, it was crazy. But it made for such a strong story because the foundation was so powerfully strong.
Yeah, and the pacing was just perfect. I mean, like there just was a rhythm to everything too.
Very musically tended.
Yeah, and even the way they like lined up certain shots and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, to go back to Michael B. Jordan's acting real quick, like his facial expression and the voice for each brother is so different that you don't really need the visual aids, but of course they help because we like to see that. But yeah, his performance was I don't know, it was just kind of uncanny. To pull it off. And if so everyone was really good in this movie. There are actors that I've never seen before. I mean, the kid that played the preacher's son, he played the guitar. Like, I waited for the credits because I always like to see if people are actually playing the instruments.
Oh, really? Okay.
So he is performing live, like in those earlier stages.
Hell yeah.
And I'm not going to say anything else about who else might be performing in this film.
Nice.
But that kid is amazing in this. Like, he really helps carry it as well. Harry Steinfeld. Harry Seinfeld. This guy, he had a great show, and his name was Harry, not Jerry. Harry Steinfeld was. I kept on thinking, like, who is this? I know who this is, but she jumped right out as well. Yeah. The
acting is phenomenal throughout. Like, there's not a. It's not just that no one took you out of it. It's that everyone really did a fantastic job.
Delroy Lindo.
Fucking knocking it out of the park. And he had one specific, but a couple actually powerful scenes. Like, this movie didn't hold back from, like, being a dramatic powerhouse while being in and amongst a horror movie. You know what I mean? But continuing on with the acting, even all the bit players, just the people of the town, you know, the
Yeah.
people of the culture, and even some really crazy casting and cameos that you only get for one particular moment in the movie. But it's like, I have very, very few occasions to call a horror movie beautiful, but this movie was beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
And there were some choices, like the culture was presented so fantastically, and again, without spoiling, but there were aspects of past, present, and even future aspects of the culture that were all kind of coalesced, and it was a wonder to behold. When this scene happened, I was beside myself with, like, oh my god, how creative and how magical, like just straight and magical to me.
And I think, like, really authentic.
Yeah.
Like, there's something about it that, like,
As
you
far
know,
as
like,
us two white dudes in their 40s can,
of course,
you know.
of course, obviously,
say.
that goes without saying.
Yeah, yeah.
But I do think that, like, one of the things, like, regardless of what kind of message or story is being told, like, I do appreciate nuance and subtlety, no matter what. And this movie just seemed so, like, effortlessly authentic.
Yes.
Like, that's when you know people have the magic, when it doesn't feel like, when you're just like, yes, sweep me into your amazing story. Like, that's the way you should feel when you go to the movies.
Yeah.
You know, and this one accomplishes that absolutely, and isn't up its own ass or weird in any way.
No, I totally agree. And so let's dive into the filmmaking of it. First, I want to hit on the production design, because this is fantastic. It's set, as you said, in the early 30s, so it's all period appropriate, from the vehicles to the buildings to the clothing, and it puts you there. And normally I'm not a big fan of period pieces, but this did such a good job, and it's like, it's not really a huge focus other than being the setup for a lot of the, you know, racially driven drama and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's the actual, like, the juke joint itself, the way it's set up, the way, you know, the town itself is, the cotton fields, like, all of it was so beautifully designed and so engrossing and you know, ingratiating as far as putting you into it and everything like that.
Yeah, it's an easy world to buy into. Yeah, period pieces have got to be extra tough and extra expensive, and they do a really good job here. And yeah, production design, I felt like there were certain moments in the movie where I was like, I almost feel like I'm watching, like, a stage play.
Yeah.
Like, there were some really, like, beautiful, like, just, you know, naturally set up pieces where, it just has this, like, it just feels like one take shots. Like, a lot of performers in a live atmosphere, like, really, really breathtaking stuff, for sure.
And then the actual cinematography, I thought was beautiful, and so, like, it was used to help tell the story at times. It was used to instill ominousness, discomfort, and fear. You know, even amongst a pseudo celebration. There's one particular scene where someone's dancing with people moving in a circle around them, and, like, the feeling you get, but also the creepiness that Coogler managed to instill just from the setup itself. Like, oh man, but again, the cinematography, all tremendously helpful, because there's stuff, you know, in soft focus in the background that just lends to the unease at times, and it was just masterful.
Yeah, I really liked some of the. I'm a weirdo for, like, stuff like framing and just, like, movement sometimes too. So there's some shots of, I mean, you know, the preacher's son, obviously his father's a preacher. There's some really beautiful shots in the church where there's like light coming in through certain areas, and just like, and then there's a, you know, juxtaposition to other things that you're seeing within the film that I thought were awesome. And then there's, I think I had briefly mentioned it earlier, but where there's a tracking shot that just kind of follows along on a track with one character and then sort of reverses with another. And it's those simple things. Like, I just really love that stuff. To me, it's like, I guess I'd say it's simple, but it's just like a really cute kind of trick that you can do that you find that not a lot of filmmakers think to do those things.
Yeah, it's very well thought out.
And, like, refreshing to see something that's so much damn fun.
I think the last two biggest things that we need to discuss more in depth are the music and the effects.
Yeah.
Let's save the music. Let's
Okay.
do the effects first, because like there was a lot of there's not a lot for the first hour and 20 minutes, but once the effects come in like the back half of the second act and the third act, they're awesome. And it's a lot of practical stuff. There is some digital assistance here and there, but it's mostly practical stuff. And the digital eyes that they give the vampires and stuff, it's that thing that I think works, where it's sort of the pinhole red light, and pinhole white light at times too. Like, I think that can be done so effectively when it's shot right, and by God, it was shot so right in this. So those effects, those are the slightly digital effects, right? But the gore, and there's a lot of it, very well done, very gross, and but just awesome. I don't know, what did you think?
Yeah, I thought the effects, I mean, you said that the beginning of the film doesn't have much, but all the Michael B. Jordan on Michael B.
That's
Jordan...
very true.
Like,
it was done so well that I didn't even think of it like that. You're right.
There are moments where you're like, well, there must be a melding of like stand-in with digital effects, and you really can't tell the difference. It's all seamless. Yeah. And
there's a lot of head replacement times that because the only reason I know this is because I watch Corridor Crew, and they've done ones where they've done twin scenes in movies where they're like, okay, it's the one in the foreground is actually him, and the one in the background is a head replacement. And there was one scene where they both get out of the car, and one was in the foreground, the other was moving straight sideways, and I was like, his head is replaced.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
I could not tell.
But they did such a good job. The only reason I know what to look for is because I watched those videos. And it was still even very hard. I could very well be wrong.
I thought they nailed it, and they interact a lot, so they don't shy away from that. And then I thought it was great the way the effects just sort of like, that was also a bit of a slow burn. It doesn't like you get to see some really fun stuff with the effects later on in the film that they're not giving away right away. So I really appreciated that, just that nice like climb. And also I think sometimes the effects went from being like somewhat realistic to like wild and comic booky. And I liked that there were a few of those moments, almost like I don't know. There are a lot of things in this movie reminded me of like a Tarantino film. And so sometimes it's like everything about it, the well-crafted story, well-crafted characters, beautifully shot, and then sometimes how ridiculous
the bim bam boom ending.
all that kind of stuff. So I think the effects were a really nice climb where it almost kind of sneaks up on you, and you're like, oh, these are really good, a lot of fun.
And let me say now, before I forget, because I will forget, 2 post-credit sequences, or 1 mid-credit sequence, 1 post-credit sequence. Honestly, if you're dying after the first one, after you see the mid-credit sequence, you don't necessarily need to see the post-credit sequence. Like, you can wait until streaming to see what that is. I would definitely, absolutely, like, the mid-credit sequence is the last part of the story to me.
Sure, yeah.
But, so be aware of that and stay for that at the very least. But yeah, you're right. Like, it's so funny because the last movie to really exemplify how to do twinning well was Sonic 3 with Robotnik and Gerald Robotnik.
Oh yeah.
The 2 Jim Carreys, like, they interacted, and like they even have a dance number where their hands like clasp in the foreground. And like, again, that has to be 2 actors. One of them is head replaced. But to your point, you're right. From the very beginning, the very first time we're introduced to the character, the camera moves and reveals that he's right next to his brother, and he reaches over and grabs the rolled cigarette from him, and they pass it back and forth a few times.
Right away, they're just not afraid of it.
No, and I'm like, oh, they're like, okay, here we go. You know what I mean?
Well, I think a big question that some people had about the movie was like, how is that? Like, is that going to work? Like him playing twins, because with the wrong actor, it could possibly not work. And this guy's really fucking good.
And let's think about it just for a second. To your point, let's think about it. If it was just one guy, I don't think the movie's as interesting. I think the fact, and even if it's
or
brothers,
2 guys that are brothers that aren't twins.
Even so, like, that's at least more interesting than one guy. But even that's not as interesting as the twinning.
I mean, it's great that they pull off like a technical marvel, and that it's integral to the story.
So the last part that I want to discuss is the music. It's such a pivotal thing. I mean, the opening of the movie, there's a voiceover that explains how important music is in that subculture in that time. You know what I mean? And it plays such a pivotal role throughout the movie, not only with Preacher's Son, but and not only with the juke joint, but like there's Delroy Lindo, you know, a woman who's fantastic, who I know I've seen in other things. I don't know who she played, but she plays
Annie, I think.
No, not Annie. No, I'm talking about the one that actually got up and performed and like sang and danced and everything. Yeah. Phenomenal. Like the music itself was so good. And then I don't want to spoil, but there's other people that play as well. You know what I mean?
Don't say it.
I won't. There's other people that play music as well, and it's so cool. And so I was like, wow, they're really going full bore for the music in this movie, but fuck, does it work? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's like damn near a musical or rock opera kind of vibe.
I think more closely a rock opera, but yeah, 100%.
Because it does, you know, not only do they talk about like, you know, having that within like the black culture at the beginning of the movie, they mention like the Chippewas, and then they mention a group in Europe too, which sort of like kind of ties the whole story together in a way.
Agreed.
And yeah, the music is, I mean, it sounds like a lot of it was you know, I can't remember the guy's name that played Preacher's Son, but I know that he plays and sings here, and he sounds amazing. Like the guy, and he's a really good actor too. So it totally works.
Such a unique voice too, even speaking voice. Like
a little smoky.
Yeah, in such an interesting way.
Yeah, really nice smoky voice, and then even some of the other characters that end up having songs in this film, like, that you maybe don't see coming. Like it was like there were moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, it really is this in an odd way, this movie is about unity.
Yeah, no, it really
you know,
is.
and they really like there's
believe it or not, on more sides than you think. You know what I mean? Like that's what's so cool about it.
And so the movie really makes you think. Like it really gives you some compelling arguments and situations.
Yeah,
and I think the music is instrumental. Dad joke, non-dad joke, but I think the music is really huge with that because they, you know, even there are moments with the music where they do blend in like more modern elements, but they still keep it focused on like that time and that place. Yeah, it's a massive part. I wouldn't be surprised if in 10 years there is a actual like theatrical musical version of Sinners.
That would be great.
Like I would not be surprised, no joke.
No, I wouldn't either. They audibly represent what someone is describing as a story, and it's so fucking cool. And they have little flourishes like that throughout the movie. Another one that I thought was really cool was when a character was getting upset, you could sort of feel the music and like this wall of sound coming up behind them until they calm back down and you hear it like back down, you know?
Yeah.
I don't think that's a spoiler because you won't know when it's coming, but once it comes, you'll be like, oh, that's what he was talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the sound design, we should have mentioned it when we first brought up the music and stuff, but the sound design was hugely both important and impressive.
Yeah, and that was one of those moments that we both recognized, like when we talked about it after the movie. So it was like, I mean, you got to mention that because it's one of those, again, slick little things they put in there.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, really good.
100%. I just realized my glasses are going to disappear and reappear. So, hey, that's magic. Again, I don't say this very often, but I would call this a masterpiece. I would say this is a masterpiece of a film. I just think it's so well done on every single level, and it's going to be tough to beat for this year. I mean, I don't know.
Superman.
Well, horror-wise.
But this one is like, you know, again, I'll just reiterate, I'm a huge snob about runtime, but oh my gosh, 2 hours and 17 minutes, this one cruises. It is a lot of fun. I already want to watch it again.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think we got something special here, for sure. Oh, we didn't mention with the acting, the guy that plays the main villain is...
Oh, yeah.
What a charming performance.
Yeah.
We sort of skated past all of that.
That's true.
But the main villain in this film, and I think it's really important that you find something about them that's like attractive or like that you can understand where they're coming from. It's massive to me, and like this guy really gets you there. And an actor I've never seen in anything.
Yeah, same.
Another rock star performance. Like
100%.
Holy crap. Sorry.
In more ways than one.
I had to mention.
No, you're right. No, it's a good point. It's a good point. It was something we missed. Absolutely. So there you go, guys. I think that's where we should leave it in order to make sure we don't spoil anything for you, because it is so worth your time to go in and just experience it for yourself. Awesome. Just go and make time for it. I especially think it's worth seeing in the theater, and most especially with a large crowd. So go opening weekend if you possibly can.
Yeah. Find a friend or take your lady or guy to this movie in the theater.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's
100%.
really, really fun.
For sure. So thank you guys very much for watching, especially if you've made it this far. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you to all of our patrons for supporting the channel. We greatly appreciate you as well. Thank you to Davey for joining me on this venture. I appreciate you jumping down here, sir.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Always a blast.
Absolutely. And until next time, you guys, remember, stay
Stay
scared.
scared.